Ugh. Oh, bleh. Sorry for no 10-minute preamble because I've spent the last hour trying to debug why my poison damage coding was not working in Mugen. And before you ask, poison damage doesn't exist in like a simple to understand way. You have to take advantage of some bugs with the state controls, but that is for a video that I want to make so that people can understand how to do it. Because it took me a while to. I don't think the Mugen wiki that explains the glitch, like, it does not explain it to a T. It only tells you the basic fundamentals of what's going on, but it doesn't really give you any coding examples. It only gives you examples of characters that have the code, which is why I want to make a video with more like a simple and easy to understand explanation. But yep. Yep, it's a tale as old as time. Coder does not understand things because there's little to no documentation and is also a kind of a visual person. Not much of a reader. Unless you're talking about the PMD-E story, then yeah, we're good. We'll get to that. Alright, welcome to day 17 of PMDE readings. We have already went through mission 7, so now it's time to go through the side stories involving that. To which there are, let's see, how many were there again? 3, that's right, and only one of those happens after the epilogue. I thought I restarted you, music. Alright. Missy was done, fed up. She simply could not handle another moment with those awful Zorwa children. It wasn't their fault, of course. She had to keep telling herself that. They'd been raised by a very bad Pokemon. A Pokemon mean-spirited enough to harm a small and defenseless creature like that Jasmine. A Pokemon with enough hatred to demolish half the village and almost kill Sorbet. These children needed more support than any other children would, and Missy the Blizzard would be damned if anyone was better at supporting children than her. Already a paragraph in, and I'm already about to say something. Something so obvious. But it was so hard. It was so hard to be understanding when every time she turned around, another normal good kid was trapped in some delusion of blindness or deafness. Normal good kids play normal good games, like Minecraft. Eventually get tired and fall into normal good sleep. They don't steal toys or pick locks or make you think the kitchen caught fire only to lock you in. Missy could deal with normal good kids, but when it came to those evil-hearted Zora, she was done, fed up. She simply could not handle another moment of those awful Zora children. Sorry, I've been coding for so long that that's the funniest thing that I could think of. In fact, the Blissey's only reprieve was the upcoming visit from that nice painter from the studio by the memorial. Palette the Zoroark, while not particularly good at painting herself, was a student of the renowned Pal, and she was supposed to paint a beautiful mural for the kids of the daycare. Now, Missy was hardly the catty type, but she couldn't help from overhearing some juicy rumors. Apparently that Zorak had been involved with some really suspicious things in the past, embezzling or fraud or something official and criminal sounding like that. And on normal circumstances, Missy would hardly allow a criminal to approach her impressionable charges. Oh no, not at all. Also, I just realized the author of this is someone who goes by Death's Buddy. I gotta see if that's a still active account. I guess they Guess they changed to Voyager Witch at some point. Their last post was in 2016. Oh, their last post on their Tumblr was on this December of 2025, so I think they're still active. But Palette has changed now. She spends her time doing honest, though maybe not the most stylish, business, and even a bit of community service. And besides that, nobody could really bring themselves to dislike her anymore, what with all that presumed dead nonsense. In fact, she made the Blissey feel a bit guilty. She'd just been through so much. Yeah. Doing all the writing and all the art. Like, Jesus Christ, why did Glib subject themselves to doing so much work? Especially the art. There's just so much of this damn art. In short, despite her reservations about Palette's talent, Missy simply had to give the Zorak a chance. It just wouldn't be very charitable of her not to. She could only hope the artist would show up soon. Palette hesitated, then rapped twice on the dainty wooden door with 2 out of 3 claws on her open hand. I did not know rap had another definition. Let me look up what that means. Strike with a series of rapid audible blows, especially in order to attract attention. Huh. The English language. Miss Michelle, it's Palette. I'm here for the mural? The daycare had already been emitting quite a ruckus, even outside, but the noise level suddenly spiked. Palette imagined the complaints of 50 tiny assailants being suddenly shaken in favor of the undeserving doorbell, and the undeserving Zorak behind the undeserving doorbell. It was kind of awful, actually. All those kids, forced by curiosity to stay awake while some strange mon fooled with pains for what would seem like days. She was interrupted in her musings by a jolt to the snout when Missy finally pushed the door open, without much regard to the position of Palette's face. Oh dear, did I hit you there? I'm terribly sorry. Please come in. I'll fetch you some ice. Missy nearly fell over apologizing, as if her entire reputation was staked on how polite she was to her guest. Palette picked her easel up and let herself be dragged across the small front hallway and off to the right, into some sort of homely, white-tiled kitchen where Missy quickly began digging in a brand new walnut ice chest. I'm fine, really, Michelle. Palette glanced nervously back at a sudden throng of curious children, peeking out from behind the doorframe. Wait, were some of those eyes staring at her with malice? No, please, call me Missy, Missy demanded, oblivious to her guest's discomfort. Ah, here we are. She straightened and thrust something freezing and hard into Palette's face. Hold that, would you? Palette tried, but it was difficult to juggle an easel and a paint of crates in the same hand. She ended up surreptitiously leaving the pack of ice on the counter behind her. And, come with me. I'll show you to your wall. You what? Oh god, more French! Can't there be someone in the story that speaks Spanish for once? Ugh. Senes pas grave? Grave? Great? Huh? Michelle told me that the daycare required a new touch, something to give it the warmth it used to have, and I have so many commissions, you know? Pal had looked away from his canvas for a moment, then occupied with an almost complete portrait of a serene-looking Persian. The Smirgle had seen Pal's expression, and his voice had softened considerably. Listen, ma petit chou, you will do fine. You've been improving rapidly lately. Just make sure you remember what I've been saying about the anatomy, and you will not fail. I need a French check on this. And I'm also gonna need a French check on this too. Does this hold the same connotations as the previous times he called it something like that? Hold? You know, does it translate to the same thing, is what I'm asking. Pallet had been unconvinced then, and she was even more unconvinced now that she found herself in a staring contest with the area Missing had chosen. The wall was completely monstrous. It dwarfed her by 2 high and 10 wide at least, despite her height. And it was clear-cut that same barren white as the rest of the circular carpeted play area. No, there was absolutely no question that something had to be done about it. She set her crate of paints down by her feet, and her easel in front of her, and hesitated before lightly unleashing her pencil on it. But before she could really get properly started on her design, her mane was tugged hard. So hard the painter actually crashed backwards onto the floor and hit her head. The carpet was soft, but it still hurt, and she instinctively curled into a ball, terrified. "Hey, lady, stop that!" Pallet cracked her eyes open. "PK?" she whispered. The merchant's leader disappeared, as if the first time wasn't enough, and an imperious-looking Zora was standing over her. The markings on the Zora's eyes were the dark sides of 2 half-moons, and the little tuft of fur on top of her head, bound by a huge iridescent bead, made an almost perfect paintbrush point, just like Pallet's had. She poked at Pallet's face like a Delcatty playing with her prey. What are you doing, lying on the floor like that?" Pallet's assailant demanded. "I was just trying to ask what you were drawing. Stop being a baby and get back to work." Pallet was flabbergasted, but she sat up. "I'm sorry? It was very rude of you to startle me like that." She held her knees and stared at her assailant. "But for your information, I'm trying to paint a mural." "You don't look like you're painting with a mural." You don't look like you're painting a mural. You look like you're fooling around with a pencil." "Yes, well," Pallet chose her words very carefully. "Looks can be deceiving. You looked like a Kecleon just then, but you weren't really, were you? And you don't look very cruel, but you did just interrupt an artist in the middle of creating." The Zora looked away. Ah, okay, so it's not the... So I'm guessing nobody who wrote this story knows French very well, and yet they tried anyway. Like, I think the group was massive. Could they not have looked for someone who knew how to speak French? Or did their French classes fail them and they're trying to recall the small bits and pieces that they could remember? Kind of like how I do with Spanish sometimes. "Yeah, whatever." She stared back at Pallet with a sudden ferocity. "You should just give up. This wall is huge. You'll never paint all of it. And besides, us kids will mess it up in no time. You should give up and get out of here and leave us in peace." The Zora's tirade left her breathless. Pallet leaned backward, just a little bit less. "Excuse me," she ventured, "but what is your name?" "Name's Charcoal," the Zora said. "And don't you forget it, 'cause me and my siblings are gonna drive you right out the door." I highly doubt that, Charcoal," said Pallet. "Siblings?" "Yeah, Hatch and Tone are somewhere around here." And Charcoal looked around. "Hatch! Tone! Get out here, boys!" "You don't have to shout." "You don't have to shout," said a quiet voice from behind Pallet. "I'm right here, you know." The Zora across her had the same round eyes as Charcoal, but with an extra maroon crescent around the outside of each one, as if his eyes were being forced constantly downwards and inwards by his markings. His fur swirled around like a stylized candle, but his face couldn't be more put out. Charcoal breathed out. "Oh, Tone," she said, explaining the panic out of her eyes. "I didn't see you there." "That's," Tone stated matter-of-factly, "because I wasn't here." "Who's this?" he demanded, gesturing at the Zorg between them. Okay, so, voice reference this time is Shiki Nanaya from Melty Blood. "She's our new target, duh." "What's her name?" "You can't properly antagonize someone if you don't know their name, idiot." Charcoal jumped on Pallet to emphasize her point, and looked the painter straight in the eye. "You, what's your name?" But Pallet was dumbfounded. She hadn't worked with kids since fighting that Heatran with Sorbet attacked, but there was more than that. These children, were they familiar somehow? She never knew many other Zora, but those gold beads and yellow eyes. Charcoal got bored of the other Pokemon's unresponsiveness and turned to Tone. Where'd your brother run off to? I called both of you. You better not be jumping off tall things again. Tone sighed. I don't think he's gone that far this time. I think he's trying to see if he can explode those kids outside with his mind. The female Zora bristled noticeably. That little... Tone, I'm gonna go deal with Hatch. Don't let this... She jerked her head at Pallet. Get too comfortable. Then she jumped off Pallet and strutted toward the door. You can just leave whenever you want? Asked Pallet. Yeah, said Tone. I mean, it's not like that Blissy'd stop us. She pretends to be all kind and understanding and everything, but she can't wait for us to be gone. We cause way too much trouble. So, why don't you leave? Tone was indignant. Yeah? And where will we go? We ain't got no home. Nowhere. Not since Mama disappeared. Oh, your mother was one of the Pokemon who disappeared? I didn't hear about it, Zora. Pallet stopped. She knew why the kids seemed familiar. Tone laughed bitterly and looked down at the floor. You mean you haven't heard? Her name's Shade. She's the one who caused all this. Kidnapped some green fairy thing and was going to kill her, till the fairy screamed real loud and everything got all weird. He paused to look back up at the Zoroark. What'd you say your name was? I'm Pallet, she said in a daze. The painter. Tone's mother, she knew who that was, perhaps. Sometimes, when it was very dark and she was very alone, she still thought about that dread ritual in the dead of night, when she almost died, when she met Pal. Ah. Also, yeah, true. Yeah, it says dream. I just wonder what the context would be for that song. If she was right, Tone's mother was an evil Pokemon. The sort that stooped to killing an innocent Zora in a desolate patch of woods, or getting a poor painter violently exiled from her village, or making a talented artist break down in tears. But looking at the Zora right then, and knowing why she felt so uncomfortable, she couldn't be afraid of him anymore. She just kind of felt sorry for him. You okay, lady? Pala realized she was making faces and got her snout under control. Yeah, sorry, I just... She groped and grappled for her next words. I'm sorry, but if you know that you need to stay here, why do you make it so hard for Missy? She's only trying to help, and it seems a bit ungrateful, Tone offered. Pala nodded. Yeah, he said. It is a little, I guess, and everyone thinks we're acting this way because Mama never taught us how to be nice or something. But that's not true at all. Mama taught us to be a lot better than this. Then why are you, Hatch and Charcoal, think if we scare all the other Pokemon off, the nightmares will go away? Nightmares? Tone studied the carpet again. I don't want to talk about the nightmares. I mean, not that you don't seem nice and all, but it's just hard to talk about, especially with them there. Tone gestured at a group of children playing Sharpedo and Finion. The Sharpedo were winning. Just when Pala was about to retort, Charcoal returned, dragging yet another tricky fox behind her. When the newcomer saw Pallet, he broke from her grasp. Hatch? Hey, what you taking me to the grown-ups for, wench? You trying to get me interrogated? Hatch looked Pallet up and down with an expression of screwed-up, hateful disgust. His left eye was identical to Charcoal's, but his right eye was emblazoned with an enormously burgundy 5-point star. There was something distinctly unbalanced about the way he carried himself, like at any moment he'd be equally liable to dive for Pallet's throat or topple over. This one's a new target, you dummy, Charcoal retorted. And don't you dare talk to me that way. Just because you're the oldest doesn't mean you can treat me like dirt. Tone shrank behind Pallet a bit. Yeah, Hatch rolled his eyes and turned them on Pallet. This is what you interrupted my extra important experiment for? Some stupid menial worker just come to make the walls even whiter? I'm not. Pallet tried to defend herself, but Hatch cut her off. Don't care. Wasting my talents, you are. I still gotta figure out what the deal is with my new powers. New powers? Charcoal bristled, but Pallet was curious now. Yeah, my new powers! You stupid or something? We gotta get something for all them Pokemon that disappeared. That's how sacrifice works. Charcoal completely lost it. Her thick fur was enveloped in hot, roaring flames. Her half-open eyes went wide with rage, and her face twisted into a snarl. She flew at Hatch and tackled him to the ground, catching him by surprise. He couldn't avoid it if he tried. Then she stood over him with a paw in his throat. Mama's coming back! Her voice quivered and shook, like it was holding back a tidal wave. I don't want to hear any more stinking lectures about the way it's supposed to be, or the sacrifices we gotta make, cause it's just wrong. Mama wouldn't leave us like that, and you know it. Well, Hatch grinned, maybe she wouldn't have if she'd had a proper choice. Charcoal shifted more of her weight onto Hatch, as if hoping it'd persuade him to stop talking. It didn't. Not like she was planning on any of this happening in the first place. And I mean, I guess it's true that Fairy was some kind of ticking time bomb, but maybe it wouldn't have escalated all as it did if it weren't for all those enemies. Shut up, Charcoal shouted, clocking Hatch straight across the snout. Shut up! It's not my fault, okay? She was going to kill it. I had to get help. I couldn't just let that happen. I couldn't. It's not. The fire went out and her legs shook. Tone, you believe me, right? You don't think it's my fault Mama disappeared, do you? But Tone couldn't say anything. Charcoal's voice quavered. Alright, I'll just go over and think about things for a bit. Maybe, be good, Tone. She wandered off toward the door. In another part of the room, Missy noticed the disturbance and hurried off after her. Hatch just chortled knowingly. Cole thinks she's got to replace Mama, seeing as she's the one who made her go away. He laughed harder. She's too young to know much about sacrifice or anything, but she'll learn. So will you, he said, with a pointed stare behind Pallet. As soon as you stop hiding behind the enemy, he turned his nose up at her. I got some more tests to do. Let me know next time I'm supposed to babysit. He put careful emphasis on the last word, like it was absolutely imperative to convey with complete accuracy how childish he thought his siblings were being. Then he strutted off with the air of a leopard that had found much bigger game to hunt. Tone emerged from his hiding place and lay down, sulking. He must have been the saddest creature in the world just then. She almost went to comfort him, but she had another job to do, even if she couldn't remember why it was more important. She stood up slowly, picked up her pencil once again, and tried to visualize her stark section of wall exploding into 1,000 bright colors. What the fuck is that character? Robert Bradley Holly? Okay, I gotta get this character. Sorry for that random thing. It's just, I'm watching Mugen on the other monitor since there's debuts going on Sprite Club, and I just found an interesting character that I need to get, and please let there be a download link! No! No, don't tell me it's a Mugen Archive only thing. Then I guess I'll have to ask for it tomorrow then. She tried to imagine something that would stimulate young minds, fit the space, and fill the void, but she just couldn't get past its sheer size. How could she, an unremarkably young ex-rogue without a past or future, make something beautiful out of so much nothing? A portrait was difficult enough, but this was impossible. Hey, Palat. Apparently Tone had been curious enough to come out of his funk. Or whatever your name is. If you're not here to paint the walls, what are you doing anyway? Pallet sighed and put her pencil down. She wasn't exactly getting anything done with it. I am kind of here to paint the walls, she admitted, but not white like the rest. I'm going to turn this whole area into a gigantic painting called a mural, she frowned. At least, in theory. Oh, said Tone, investigating Pallet's crate of crafts. What's the difference between a painting and painting? He peered inside. And how come you got all these different kinds of paints here? Don't you just need one to change the color of something? Pallet froze. No, he wouldn't know about that, would he? Of course, how would he know if nobody ever told him? The only reason Pal hadn't had to teach her from scratch was, well, a painting is like, it is kind of similar to an illusion, because most of them can look like anything you want, you know? But an illusion goes away the minute you stop concentrating it, and a painting stays on the canvas. Something occurred to her, and she backtracked. You can produce illusions, right? That is, most Zorua can, but I do not want to assume. Tone shifted. Well, kind of. I'm not very good at them, though. Not as good as Mama or Hatch or Charcoal. Why don't you show me? And just like that, Devonshire was there, in the daycare. His wide grin, his shining cravat, his perfect hips were unmistakable. Why is that a detail? But it wasn't a perfect Devonshire. His eyes still retained that unnerving feral yellow, and the Sableye hadn't had a gray-black tail the last time she'd seen him. But if Tone could disguise himself as Devonshire, wouldn't that mean he was the one who ordered the Zoroarks to knock over PK's item stand? Wouldn't that make it his fault that she was exiled? Yeah, Tone said, still in disguise. I can't figure out how to get rid of the tail, or the eyes. He reverted in an instant. And I think I got his laugh wrong too, all that time ago. I don't think I'll ever really be as good as Hatch, he mourned. He looked up at Pallet, quizzically. Is something wrong? She stammered. I just thought of something awful, actually, but it's not something I want to talk about at this very moment. Anyway, you can't just use white and black for a big mural like this, because people do not like looking at things that are in black and white. Color makes everything much more interesting. Wow, PK should have read that sentence, multiple times. Yes, that is a Floriverse reference. I guess that makes sense, Tone admitted. But why would you just use those three colors then? Other than white and black, I mean. Pal was confused for a moment, but when she looked in her crate, she realized what he meant. Oh, you mean the primary colors, right? Red, blue, and yellow are very special to a painter, actually. You see, she fumbled around for a clean palette. I can make any other color by mixing 2 or 3 of these together. Palette demonstrated by just barely touching the tip of her braid to the bucket of blue paint and making a little dot on the wooden board. You see, this is blue, but if I add a bit of yellow... She wiped her hair off on a rag and dipped it into the pail of goldenrod, though maybe not quite as thoroughly as with the blue, so when she mixed it into the azure dot, it made a decidedly teal shade of green. Oops. I suppose I didn't proportion that exactly right, but this is a great demonstration of something I was about to say anyway, which is that if you experiment with how much of each primary you used, you can paint with just about any color in the rainbow. Palette looked down at Tone to gauge his reaction, and she half expected him to look bored and apathetic, but she only saw wonder in those wide yellow eyes of his. He reminded her of, well, if you want, she said, I could take you back home to the studio I share with a friend. Not for a very long time, you know, just to show you more of the things we do as artists. It isn't as though I'm making very much progress here anyway. She sighed. And also, maybe, she added hesitantly, there are not so many Pokemon living at our studio, so maybe, if the 3 of you did sleep there, you would not have such awful nightmares? Tone shivered. You do that for us? Really? He said, looking down bashfully. I'll definitely ask Hatch and Charcoal if they're okay with that. I mean, sure, they pretend to be tough and all, but really they're just as scared as I am. Even Hatch, I think. I don't think Hatch is telling the truth right now. I mean, not to me, or to you, but... Palette nodded. She understood. Yeah. Think I need a drink break. Also, it looks like we're almost halfway done. Okay. Pal had held the door open, and 3 little Zoras scurried into the studio. She stepped inside as well, lit a gas lamp, and looked around. This place was completely spotless. 3 of the 4 easels shone blankly in the moonlight, and the 4th was covered by a blanket. The kitchen floor looked recently mopped, and there were no dirty dishes in sight. No Pal either, which was odd for this time of night. The artist seldom left the studio at all, really, except sometimes for food, supplies, or ideas. Pal said to her new charges, who were taking in the vista with more than a little bit of wonder. I was going to introduce you to Pal, but it looks like he's not here at the moment. Would you like me to get you something to eat? Charcoal, Hatch, and Tone nodded fervently. Well, then, I shall have to fix something up for you. I should not be very long, but try not to make too much of a mess in the meantime, alright? It looks as though Pal just got finished cleaning. She frowned briefly before hurrying off to the kitchen. As soon as she left, Hatch stretched himself out on the floor with his legs splayed. Yeah, I gotta admit, he said, this is probably a pretty nice place to live. I can't wait till it's ours. Hatch! Charcoal scolded. Don't say things like that. Palace or whatever has been real nice to us so far, so we ought to try and be nice back. Maybe. Besides, we're only staying in this village till Mama comes home. Hatch gave an exaggerated sigh, but didn't drive the point any further. Tone was busy exploring the many rows of paint on the shelves. Hey, he said, did you know that if you mix 2 colors, sometimes you can get a new one? Hatch looked up. No, he said, that's not how it works. Colors are colors. You can't just mix them like that. Stop being so dumb. To demonstrate, he made a little rainbow in between 2 paws. Yeah, you can, said Tone, but it only works with painted stuff. Like, blue and yellow make green, and maybe you can make some more colors with blue and yellow and red too? I don't know, I didn't ask. Alright, said Charcoal. I mean, that's all well and good, but what's the point? You can just make an illusion with any color you like. Why would you even mess around with that garbage? Tone was about to retort, but Hatch cut in before he could. Hey, you know, I actually think that's pretty interesting. Other creatures gotta learn to deal with all those colors and stuff too, right? So it's a good thing they managed to figure out how. The oldest of Shade's children stood up and sauntered over to the wooden shelves, colored in huge buckets and medium-sized bottles of acrylics, as well as smaller tubes of oil paints, and stared up at them deviously. But if mixing 2 colors makes another one, what happens if you mix 3 or 4? Well, said Tone carefully, I guess you'd probably get another sort of color, but I don't see why— But you don't know, right? Hatch pressed. Aren't you even a little bit curious, Tiny? Tone didn't say anything, but Hatch wasn't waiting for an answer. What'd you say? Blue, red, and yellow, right? These ones should work. He scanned the shelves and found a bottle of blue acrylic paint, a bottle of red, and a bottle of yellow. He jumped up and knocked them down one by one, felling a few extra bottles in the process, some of which popped open and started oozing their colorful contents where they lay. Oi, Charcoal, help me get these caps open! She was only too happy to oblige, and before they knew it, the 3 primary colors formed 3 distinct blobs of bright color in the center of the studio. Now we gotta find some way to mix it up, said Charcoal. Yeah. Well, that's no problem at all, Hatch beamed, and he ran to grab a rather large brush from across the room. He thrashed about with it firmly in his jaws until the thick paints were not only thoroughly mixed, but scattered all over the room. However, the mixture hadn't formed some new type of color, or even an existing color. Instead, the whole mess just made a large brown-black sludge across the white floor. Still, one does not embark on scientific inquiry unprepared for failure. At that very moment, Pala walked back into the main room of the studio to let the children know that their noodles and broth was ready. Tone? Charcoal? Hatch? Oh no. She stood transfixed at the destruction. If Pala had read more stories concerning matters of the heart, she would have been fully prepared for what came next. She might even have expected it a bit sooner, but since she had not, she was taken completely by surprise when the door of the studio creaked open and Pal stepped inside. Pal looked like he had run afoul of a herd of bouffalons and then scrubbed the ground in their wake, ragged and tired, lugging some sort of cardboard box that was just a bit bigger than his head. He set the box down gently by the door, stared at the 2 Zoras standing next to the unappetizing broth of expensive paint, and looked in and took in the third Zora hiding in a dark corner. Then he turned to Pallet. What is this exactly? Pallet looked around too and tried to think of a good explanation. What would he assume looking at all this? She thought of something particularly horrible. Horrible enough that it had to be acknowledged. They are not mine. Of course they are not yours, Pal snapped impatiently. I would hope that if anything so momentous happened, you would at least tell me about it a week in advance. Speaking of which, when were you planning to say that we were adopting exactly? I'm not, said Pallet. Look, these children, I think they belong to her. You know, the one you saved me from a long time ago. Pal was taken aback for a moment, but he quickly regained his composure. Three little minds tried to process the idea that the strange artist from the daycare somehow knew their mother personally, and failed. Oh god. D'accord, he hissed. Then I will correct myself. You're not only not telling me things that you should really be telling me, you're trying to get yourself killed. Has it not occurred to you that there are possibly people other than yourself who care about your safety? Because obviously you do not. He continued hastily. And how much progress did you make on that mural? Not very much, yes? How do you plan to become a good artist if you do not spend time perfecting your art? If this does keep up, you will end up doing bad things just to survive, like you did before I took you in. Pallet's pulse was quickening, but the blood wasn't warming her veins. It was running cold, and spreading the awful coldness through her arms and legs, making them rigid, and through her mind, hardening her heart. Yep. I did. They really want them to be a couple. Well, fine then, she said with a level voice that wouldn't stop shaking. I will clean up this mess, and they will leave. And then I will start packing, because if they don't deserve a home out of pity, then neither do I. Time stopped. All of the color left Pal's face. His eyes glazed over and his knees trembled. Ugh, merde, he said, simply, before staggering back out of the door and off into the night. See? I know, Spy French. And that probably is Spy French, because I don't know any other, what was it? What was that, a swear? I forget. Yeah, it is a vulgar word. So yeah, I know Spy Team Fortress 2. You used to be bad? Hatch asked moments later. No, Pallet asserted. No, we are not doing this right now. We're not going to talk about that. Instead, I'm going to clean up all of this. She swept a shuddering hand across the dark acrylic devastation. And the three of you are going to tell me about your nightmares. Charcoal fiddled with the fur Charcoal fiddled with the fur under her bead. Tone inspected his left forepaw, and Hatch opened his mouth to speak. You were going to do this, interrupted Pallet, because I need to know exactly why I just deeply hurt the only one who ever cared for me. Don't bother arguing, she said when Tone drew in a breath. Because I am not going to change my mind. By now, I think you will agree that you owe me this. Hatch whistled. You remind me of Mama. Charcoal and Pallet both shot him a look. Tone's fur turned pale. Well, or no. I mean, can we paint them instead? The nightmares? Pallet stared at him incredulously. You expecting me to surrender to you 3 canvases and Pal's collection of paints while the room is still a mess from the last time the 3 of you touched them? Yes, Tone said. But I promise it won't happen again. Right, Charcoal? Hatch? The 2 of them nodded solemnly. Pallet shook harder. She had to stop herself from reaching out and slapping Tone right across the face. But instead, she wordlessly walked to the back of the studio and fetched tubes of bright watercolors, setting them down before fetching some of the brushes she had used when she was still a Zora. Pal probably had some irritatingly wise reason for keeping that old garbage around. She picked the 3 blank canvases up off their easels, placing them gently on relatively clean parts of the floor, and fetched a few cups of water from the kitchen. She left them by the canvases, and then paid her undivided attention to the slick of acrylic disaster splayed across the soft carpet. By the time the discoloration was only a patch of darker white that she might have been imagining, and the smaller spills by the shelves blended in with the carpet's many other stains, Shade's children were putting the finishing touches on their macabre masterpieces. Tone had painted his whole canvas impenetrable black, except for a darkened yellow sun with two round eyes over a spooked crescent moon with its single large eye staring balefully out of the painting. Also, I do want to stop here because I remember reading on TV tropes, the TV tropes for this, that apparently all of these children's paintings are supposed to be foreshadowing for future arcs, and I've spent some time trying to figure out what these meant. And for Tone's painting, I can only imagine that it's like a Soul Rock and a Lunatone, because I don't know what else that's supposed to mean. Maybe it has something to do with the Dark Moon Clan, I don't know. Charcoal had framed something blue, crowned, and shadowed between two pairs of lines, one straight, one broken. The barely recognizable figure of a Raichu stood fast in front of the shadowed figure, flanked by two Archon? Ducklet? Okay, so yeah, this has to do with jewels. Most likely it has to do with jewels, because Zekrom Town, Raichu, it's obvious. Hatch had liberally blotted in grays, blacks, and dark teals around a long white neck and a proud, regal head, but whatever it was, the darkness had enwrapped the darkness around it had enwrapped it with tendrils tapering in ominous hands, covering its mouth and perhaps preventing it from crying out. And this last painting, I can only assume it has to do with Sorbet and Loire fusing into Kyurem White. That's what I can think of, because Reshiram is not a teal color. Let me pull up a picture of Kyurem White. Wait, actually, where did I get teal out of Kyurem White from? I don't know why I thought it would be Kyurem White, but it would make sense. It would make sense if it was either Reshiram or Kyurem White. Anyway. All of these nightmares chilled Pallet to the bone, but the last made her remember a deep, unnameable fear. She wanted to run far away, and never to return. These are, she managed, well, these are certainly nightmares. Tone? Yes? What, am I trying to think of a good way to say this, but it is not working. What exactly happens in your dream? Tone sighed. Well, it's kind of, I mean, I'm here in the village, but nobody else is here. It's just me, wandering by that statue of the dragon, the fountain, he said, gesturing straight out the door. It's the middle of the day, but then everything's dark. Not dark like night, it's like something's blocking the sun out completely. For some reason. I know it's the moon blocking the sun, but it isn't shining like the one outside. It's like it's some kind of dark moon? Tone shifted uncomfortably. I wait for it to be daytime again, but it never is. I wait a long time in the dream, but it just stays that way forever. You finished? Hatch and Charcoal were quiet. Charcoal wants to tell you about hers, Tone said quickly. No, I don't! Would you mind? Asked Pallet. Charcoal relented. Fine. There's some kind of orange mouse, right? And she's busy all the stinking time. She's always fixing stuff that gets broken, because there are these weird alien-looking Pokemon that are going crazy and stuff, but they run the place or something. A lot of people are dying, and the mouse can't do nothing to stop it, Charcoal shivered, as if dying were cold enough to steal the summer from the air. But anyway, there's some kind of king hiding behind that mouse, all blustery and rumbling loud like a thunderstorm. He's got a weird crown, all bits of metal and panes of glass like it was made out of something else different, and then there's a big earthquake, and usually I fall off something and wake up. There, happy? She looked like she would rather sleep than hear the answer. Hatch, do you want to explain yours? But Hatch was just standing over his canvas, staring past it into the deep earth. This isn't right, he muttered. Usually if I open my eyes or stop thinking about it, it'll just go away, but it's still there. Hatch looked up at Pallet, his yellow eyes twinged with red and salt. It's still there! What if it's there forever? No. He raised a paw into the air as if to scratch the painting, or destroy it utterly, but he faltered. The salt finally escaped, flushed from his eyes by a torrent of grief and water, and he collapsed onto the ground, sobbing like the child he was. I can't do this anymore. I want Mama back. A tear got on the painting, smudging the watercolor base. I don't want no stupid powers or nothing. Why do we gotta do these dumb things anyway? Why can't the dreams just go away? Nobody here gots to have them. I want... He hiccuped. I want... Shh, said Charcoal. Shh. She snuggled up next to him and touched his paw. Mama's gonna come home again, and then everything's gonna be fine, okay? She wiped his tears away with a paint-dried forepaw. Everything's gonna be fine. Said Pallet. Hatch, Charcoal, and Toadle stared at her. I'll go back with you, she continued. Sorry that the studio didn't, work out, but perhaps if you know someone at the daycare, it will not be as scary. You do that? Charcoal was wide-eyed. It's not real nice at the daycare, you know, and you might have to sleep on the floor. That's fine, said Pallet. It wouldn't be the first time. So she set the canvases back on their easels, cleaned and stowed watercolors and brushes, blew out the stove, and was on her way. Later, Powell would return to his studio. The main room would be immaculate again, and Powell would have left very little trace, except in the kitchen. Dinner would be waiting for him there, completely untouched and still mostly hot. He would try to taste a little, no use wasting food after all, but break down into tears after the first mouthful. Oh, I just remember that one detail that Fresnel's owner told me. Let's see. Do I have the... Wait a minute, I can just scroll back up in our DMs. I can find the thing there and I can save the sprites to the sprites folder. But I do remember finding Fresnel's family tree. Or them showing me Fresnel's family tree. Now, where was it? Yeah, I found it. Okay, sprites. That's not the right sprites folder. That's for a Mugen character. PMD-E. You know what? I'll just save it in here. God. Okay, now where the heck did I just save it at? That's right, it's in here. So yeah, here's the family tree they sent me. So you got Fresnel, then you got his mom as an Ampharos, whose parents, female Ampharos and male Luxray. I was not expecting his dad to be a Typhlosion, and then his dad's parents were also a Typhlosion and a Furret. Like, this is the most interesting case of family tree I've ever seen. Kinda makes me wish I knew what Shroomsport's family tree was like. I want to see that. Yeah. I think the thing about his dad was brought up in the interview video with the Fresnel's owner. But anyway, back to story. The wall was worse at night. From Pallet's vantage point on the ground, it stretched upward forever. Moonlight played across it, but the cool rays only emphasized its emptiness. This was not a surface ripe with potential, or some oversized canvas, or even a problem to be solved. It was an oppressive void, a force of nature threatening to swallow Pallet and everything she's ever worked for. And if you were from where they were from, you'd be fucking dead. It would destroy her, eventually, she thought. Hatch, Tone, and Charcoal were somehow asleep. She stared at them and tried to keep her thoughts on dark moons and hidden kings and proud beasts silenced by strange hands, but she failed. She couldn't stop herself from dwelling on her argument with Pal. What had he said to her? He'd told her the truth, of course. She couldn't just wish the wall painted or wish to be someone else. She had to work at it. She knew that, but the way Pal had said it, it sounded as though he really thought she was just going to return to that worthless urchin from so long ago, staking her life for a bit of food. Did he really think that it all meant so little to her? All the progress she made, all the trials she'd undergone? But what had she said to him? Was it really true? Did he really only keep her around because he felt sorry for her? He had never told her otherwise, and he could be so very hard to read, but no, there was something more. She couldn't name it, but it felt, well, it felt like he believed in her. That was it, wasn't it? God damn it. Okay, how do I pronounce this? Il y avait son secret? What? Yeah. Why does French have to confuse me so much? Okay, I just gotta... Where was it? I just lost it now. Oh, there it is. Apparently Google translates this to his secret was there. I'm wondering if they're just using Google Translate for all this French. He'd been her guide and her mentor, but also her only fan, and the only one who had ever believed she could become an artist. And now she'd betrayed his trust. It's no use, she said aloud, staring at the silvery fringe of the window and wishing she could sleep. What's no use? Pala looked over quickly. Hatch and Charcoal were still snoring unpeacefully, but one of Tone's eyes was cracked open and staring at her. Oh, she said, you're awake? Of course I am. Wait, hold on. Of course I am, he replied. But why are you? A beat. Are you still sad about what happened with your friend? Pala thought about lying to Tone, about just telling him to go back to sleep and forget about it. Yes, she admitted. I suppose I am. I'm sorry, Tone said. It's all my fault. If I weren't such a loser, maybe I could have stopped them from spilling all those paints, and then maybe he wouldn't have been so mad, he sighed. I'm never gonna be nothing more than the youngest, though. That isn't true, Pala retorted instinctively. It could be anything you want. She sat up all the way. Promise me this, yes? Promise me that if you are unhappy with how you are, you will try to change. If you keep to that promise, I will be a fool to not forgive you. Tone's other eye opened, and Pallet had his full attention. Alright, Pallet, he said. I promise. Then he closed his eyes and drifted off into nightmares. Pallet thought very carefully and very deeply. Then it occurred to her that, for once, she might have a plan. What is going on here? Tootsie, no, we said we wouldn't do that. The Venipede sighed. Well, how are we gonna stop the fire from spreading all the way to Windswept Woods then, Roll? You know what happens if it gets there? Those woods are all windy. Rolled her eyes arrogantly. I told you what we were gonna do. We were gonna do one of those team moves, like in all the stories. Your rollout with my mud slap. We were gonna put the whole thing out in one go, remember? Oh, right, Tootsie frowned. How'd I forget that? Dunno, you must have amnesia or something. You gotta get that checked out, Toots, or you'll never put out fires like the core. Warm sunlight returned once more to the Tao Village daycare, and with the dry season came the constant threat of inferno. Sure, the cities were well enough protected, but the great wilds between the kitchen and that one slackoff everyone made fun of? And what of Castle Draclugia? Someone would have to take up the difficult task of making sure all those blazes were properly under control, and the lollipop evacuation and fire retreatment. Is that even the right? No, there's no T there. No, that's a misspelling. And the lollipop evacuation and fire treatment left squad would be damned if they wouldn't have a hand in it. Tootsie was careful and good-hearted, but maybe a little slow. Roll was her hyperactive and bossy partner in crime, and together they were going to make sure nobody ever got burned up again. Well, after they were old enough for Missy to let them leave, that is. They hadn't decided who would be the leader, but Roll did have a habit of following Tootsie's orders in a pinch. "Course I will," said Tootsie. "I'll be better than the core, even. Excuse me, miss, do you want something?" Roll turned around. A great gray monster with a flowing mane of auburn lay on the floor not far away, her chin resting on her claws. "Please," the Zora said, "call me Pallet, and, well, I cannot help but listen in. You wish to fight fires?" "Yeah," chimed Roll. "We're gonna be the best in the world someday." Her eyes arrowed suspiciously. "Why, you some kind of agent?" No, not at all," Pallet backtracked quickly. "I was just wondering, fighting fires, would you say that is your dream?" "Dream? Like what you see when you're asleep?" Pallet laughed musically. "Not really, no. You do not need to be asleep to dream. Not at all. A dream is something that gives purpose to your life, when it feels like just living is not purpose enough. Tell me, Tootsie, tell me, Tootsie, do you really, really, really want to be a firefighter?" Tootsie lit up like a firework. "Yes, absolutely! And so does Roll, right, Roll?" "Left, Toots. You bet I do." "Then," said Pallet, "it is your dream, and you should hang on to it with every shred of willpower that you can muster. If you do not give up, you will definitely succeed." Roll didn't really understand how she felt about Pallet's words. It was like being hugged comfortably like a close friend, but with much less physical contact. Still, hearing her talking all about dreams made her curiouser than anything. "Hey, Pallet," she said, "do you have a dream?" The Zork didn't answer at first, but stared right back. Then she made her offer. How would the two of you like to be in a painting?" This ritual was repeated many, many times over the next few days. Pallet eventually managed to talk to every child under Missy's care, asking each one about their ambitions and offering to include them in her mural. Then she sketched, and erased, and sketched again. Hatch and Charcoal played together more often now, and though they still refused to talk to the younger Pokemon, they pulled no more cruel tricks. Tone, however, took an interest in watching Pallet's canvas transform from blank to light gray to blank again, and he was delighted when she was finally satisfied with her pencil outline and began painting the scale model. Every once in a while, Pallet would notice a shadow watching her from the door, flitting away as soon as she looked. She knew very well who that shadow belonged to, and she missed him dearly, but she could not stop until she had finished. Because she felt so attached to and driven by her work, she did not speak with Pal until the fourth night. That night, she had finally put the finishing touches on her model, and was dozing off while waiting for it to dry, when he quietly broke the silence of the darkened daycare. "Pallet?" She woke with a start, and her eyes found Pal's face, clean and composed, like he'd just washed. He was standing over her, but directly in front of her model. He'd been inspecting her work, perhaps? Presently, he gestured toward it and smiled weakly. "Ma chérie, you've been working very hard lately. Your model looks absolutely beautiful. However, I think you deserve a break, do you not?" He extended a paw to help her up, and she took it without a word. Of course, she still had to get up by herself. Pal was never known for his upper body strength. A few meters away, Tone listened and thought. That was it. As Pal and Pallet crossed the village square, he told her about his latest commission. Do you remember? Perhaps you were not awake at the time. It was very early in the morning. His name was Twigs, but he brought me his stepbrother Sticks along as well. Twigs? Pallet considered. Is that the same Twigs who proposed to PK? Pal frowned. Perhaps. I admit, I've not been paying attention to much of the village politics lately. Perhaps I should. I certainly heeded not, though. He was an exceedingly rude customer. I cannot imagine PK putting up with him for much longer than a minute. Allures. That's a word. He said a lot of very vicious things about Messieurs, Shroomsworth, and Malt, though his stepbrother's babbling made it very difficult to pick out the words. Eventually, he asked me to paint a portrait of him, so I told him my prices. He ignored me. He said I could choose a price from his home when I was there. I asked him why in the name of all art would I be visiting his home. Ma chérie, if only I had not asked. He told me that he was not planning on returning to the village soon, so I would have to deliver the finished artwork in person. I think it looks more like she's kneeling down. No, wait, that's supposed to be dancing. Yeah, that does look like she has short legs. What? God. Also, I don't know French. Isn't the word usually monsieur or something? I don't know. I picked up that word while I was playing Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. Let me see. What does that word mean? Oh, plural. That's right. I forget plural exists. Oh, is this what you meant by how French was worse than Spanish? Oh. Oh. What? Said Pallet blankly. Did you mishear him? Surely no one could be that inconsiderate. No, Pal replied. I did not mishear, though I thought so at first, too. I feel the right thing to do just then would have been to refuse, but that Meowth's claws were not looking very good for my canvas, and he looked ready to snap if he stayed much longer. And it looked as though he would stay much longer if I tried to turn them away. Besides, Pallet reasoned, you did need the money, and any treasures you obtained could be sold to the Merchants Guild. Pal looked very strange for a moment, as if he wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. Yes, bien sûr. Of course we need money, but I would not dream of selling what I came home with. It is the point of the story, actually. Come in, let me show you. The studio was filled with lights, because every lantern in the room was ablaze. The 4 easels stood flat against the back wall, and any detritus of Pal's profession was similarly cleared away. Pal had noticed the huge cardboard box that Pal had been carrying the night she'd left. It was sitting ominously in the very forefront of the room, expectantly. Pal hurried over and pried the petals of the box open, peering inside. Yes, he said, it is still as beautiful as before. Come see. Pal was more than a little unnerved by his mania, but her doubts melted away when she saw the intricate machine inside the box. Its base was a little metal rectangle, with a circular pad on top and a handle for cranking attached to the side. Next to the pad was mounted a sort of enormous horn, with its mouth agape to the world and its mouthpiece lost in complex machinery that terminated in a little wheel. It is known as a phonograph, I believe, Pal said. It certainly is something, Pal replied, but what does it do? Well, said Pal, not very much alone, maze. He rooted around inside a drawer and pulled out some sort of disc. With this, it will make music. Pal looked closely at the object in Pal's hands. It was deep black, nearly as black as wet black paint, and covered in little circular grooves that spiraled outwards from an inner white circle, which itself was punctured through the middle. The inner circle had writing in it, in fancy lettering that Pal could just barely make out. Untitled, composed by, and performed by the Alomomola Symphony Orchestra. Watch and see. Pal placed the the disc gently on the floor, and he took the phonograph out of its box, setting the machine on the floor next to the wall. He ran the box into the kitchen. Then he picked Untitled back up and fitted it clumsily into the top of the strange machine. He set the wheel carefully into one of the grooves on the disc and turned the crank vigorously. The crank made an ugly click 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 noise as Powell worked. Then, finally, he let go, and the crank immediately started to turn the other way. But so did the disc. And when the disc moved, the horn of the phonograph crackled and spit and started singing the most gorgeous song Pallet had ever heard. She gasped aloud, and Pal smiled broadly. Ma chérie, do you know how to dance? Pallet shook her head slowly. Ah, then follow my lead. Ce n'est pas difficile. I think that's how that's pronounced. Pallet couldn't reach Pal's hip, as the traditional stance would require, so they grasped claw to paw and paw to claw. Pal showed her, with light motion, how to sway and step to the rhythm, to the ebb and flow of pianissimo and mezzo forte. Her feet stumbled and jerked at first, but eventually she found a sync, and then they were dancing. It felt like the most natural thing in the world then. For a measure, or perhaps it was 100 measures, they said nothing. They were too busy concentrating on their steps and on each other. But then, for the second time that night, Pal broke the silence. Pallet, about those paintings, the ones which were still on the easel? She tripped over her own foot and crashed to the floor, but caught herself. Yes, the children made those. They've been having nightmares. Another long silence. Pal and Pallet swayed and stepped. Pallet, Pal said finally, something very big is going to happen, is it not? Something even bigger than those disappearances. Even worse than the disaster with that ice dragon. I think, Pallet said, perhaps you are right, and those children caught up in the middle of it. Us as well, caught up in it, Pallet mentioned. Us too, yes. Pal was silent again for a moment, but Pallet knew he had much more to say, and he did. I am afraid, he admitted, of everything I have worked for all these years, just blowing away in some wild wind. I'm afraid of losing all of that. He grasped Pallet's claws tightly. But Buku plus important. I am afraid of losing you, ma chérie. Please, promise me? Promise me that you will never blow away again. Pallet promised. No. About what you said that night. No! Pallet interjected suddenly. No, I was wrong. You don't have to. You were not wrong, Pal said with a hint of sadness. Pallet listened. I've never been very good at expressing myself, he said. Not in words, that is. And I'm afraid that I hurt you as a result. You said everything. Wait, you said everything, but that I only gave you a home because I felt sorry for you. He looked away briefly in shame. And that was the truth. At least it was the truth at first. You were a young girl, and I could not live with myself if I had allowed a young girl to be endangered so often only for money. You understand? Pallet nodded. He had said as much before. I felt that way for a very long time, but I thought I felt that way for much longer than I did. When I thought you had died, though, I knew it had been more than that. I could not eat, I could not sleep, and I could not paint. I would have been prepared to give up, you see? To give up everything just to see you again. Pallet said. There were tears in her eyes. I have never told you this, he continued, so how could I expect you to know? I was a fool, and I deserved those 3 days to remember what it was like to be lonely again. But Pallet, he looked her straight in the eyes. You are much more to me than a lost child, or a student, or an injured animal in the woods. Then what am I to you? Pallet whispered. Pal smiled, and his smile made Pallet smile, too, and the two of them swayed and stepped in circles and pirouettes until the morning. Well, wait, he never answered her question. Okay. Oh, fuck, that's right, complimentaries is a long-ass bitch. How many? 19. Oh, God, what do I do to... I expected inspiration to be longer than I thought. And yeah. Ugh. Huh. Well, now I don't know what to do for this next hour. Because I don't want to read complimentaries, because that's going to take like 2 hours. Unless I know what complimentaries is about first. Oh, yeah. Pre-arc stuff. Yeah. That's right. This is pre-arc stuff, but it's also nestled in Mission 7 for some reason. Is there an epilogue to... Wait, that's right. The epilogue is a flash. Well, give me a second. I gotta replace a stage in this BRB Mugen before we do PK gets beaten up again. There we go. My god. I gotta stretch this out a bit. There we go. Okay. There's that. Let me get the stage name, because I already forgot what it was. There it is. Yeah, not even Gunpowder stuff was this long. Who made complimentaries? Oh, that's right. Glip did. I should have expected as much. Also, I don't know why the Paint.net's... I mean, not the Paint.net, the Notepad++ is here again. I thought I moved that off screen. Apparently, if you want to have a good life in this story, you gotta be a fucking weirdo. If you're a normal person, you're subjected to pain and gaslighting until they turn you into a fucking weirdo. Wait a minute. Oh. Well, now that I say it like that... Huh. An interesting observation, is it not? Also, I think I might have... I think Shroomsworth is still in this roster because I fought him myself one time. Yeah, he's still in there. Alright, PK. You were... Wait a minute. Actually, even better. Let's subject Merlot to torture this time. Oh, wait, I didn't choose the right palette. There we go. Alright. Who is Merlot getting first? Be a good one. Oh, no. I can't put her up against any of the Baxter characters. She's just going to beat them. No, I don't want to put them up against Baxter characters. I still haven't replaced all of them in the roster because I don't think they're interesting enough for this roster. Yeah, Zero is a Yoi. Toho Project versus Toho Project. Let's go. I think Merlot will have a bit more, have a bit tougher time finding characters that can beat her because she's a bit stronger than PK. Yeah. I remember when that happened. Oh, that I remember why Merlot is a lot stronger than PK now, because Merlot has push block, and she likes to use it.
Are you ready? Go!
Yeah. Okay. Zero is finally... He's finally getting that strength back. Yeah, that push block ain't gonna save you now, isn't it? Not from a command grab.
Prepare to strike. Now.
Oh yeah, I might have also given Merlot a bit more health and defense, if I remember correctly. I'd have to pull up Fighter Factory just to see. Yep. I also gotta see if... Okay, Fighter Factory is just in the background.
Let's go.
Yeah, she has slightly buffed life and defense because I intended her to be a boss character. I guess she could be considered an SNK boss if you really think about it. But I really intended for her gimmick to be weak. But she still ended up being strong because I might have given her too good AI.
Get ready for the next battle.
Oh, there might be a point in time in which Merlot might be able to use her level 3 hyper. I don't think the level 3 hyper was shown off in the release video. Wait, oh, this might be it. If she doesn't use the full screen, never mind, she uses the full screen. Oh, but it got canceled out by zeros. Also, yeah, I figured it would. Yeah, if it's anything about making PMD fan stuff, I would generally go against using cameoing other people's characters. Okay, yeah. Merlot got destroyed. Thank God. Get beaten by a real SNK boss. Also, I might have chosen the wrong palette again. I forget if this guy was ever good.
Tell me, or suffer the consequences.
Fighters ready. Engage.
Sometimes I don't even know either because it's really difficult to find a point in time that is like most acceptable with like our views and stuff. Yeah, and the setting is weird.
Get ready for the next battle.
Thinking nothing of it.
Are you ready? Go.
Which is why I'm still having trouble trying to find a way for me to write a self-ship fic with me and Shroomsworth PMDE version. So that's why I'm focusing more on my original fic, which does have Shroomsworth and Rhodes in it because they are now my OCs.
think nothing
Get
of
ready
it.
for the next battle.
Prepare to strike. Now. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Get ready for the next battle.
Oh, yep, there she is. You know it's Merlot when it's that. Ooh, I'm a shape. Wait, that's in 5th div. Oh no, Merlot's going to kill this easily.
Tell me, or suffer the consequences.
Fighters ready. Engage.
Yeah, I do get that. I'm just having trouble trying to put it into words. Like, it's not that hard to take PMDE and make something better out of it. I'd even go as far to say that if you're a decent human being and you want to make something out of it, then you're already,
You are
Get ready
quite
for the
good
next
to enter
battle.
an
then with all that
Why
decent
would
human
I
knowledge
be
you
in the
have,
right mind to reward such insolence?
Are you ready?
you're already doing much better than the story itself ever would. God, my mind is just so out of it. That's what happens when you try to code a Mugen character and you have trouble trying to find a solution to the problem you have. It just makes you very, very tired.
Let's go.
What the heck? Blitz tank? Wait, am I get Tom Hanks face? Yeah, there's just so much about the PMDE story that could be better.
Why would I be in the right mind to reward such insolence?
Prepare to strike. Now.
If you ask me how I would fix PMDE story, it would go somewhat like this. Shroomsworth would... PK would... Okay, the merchants would not have the idea to group together because Shroomsworth does not feel like PK would be worth it. Or even if he... Or even if they did, he would just... I guess one thing I'd do is make Shroomsworth very transparent about his feelings, because he seems to just hide them.
Get ready for the next battle.
And I guess the only reason why he has to hide them because the nature of things that happen to him is very inappropriate for a family setting. But at least the least he could do is tell PK, "Madam, could you please not make fun of my mannerisms? They are a part of who I am. And if you do not like them, then you do not like me either." Oh shoot, I want to be the Ryu!
Who is dare to approach my lair unannounced?
I'm pausing the music.
Or suffer the consequences.
I forgot if I have Ryashon's Ryu remix in my playlist. If not, I need to get it in there. But yeah, watch this. Merlot's gonna get giga destroyed.
Fighters ready. Engage.
Yeah.
Get ready for the next battle.
Are you ready? Go.
Essentially, I want Shrimsworth removed from the Tau Village plot. He does not deserve to be with PK at all. He has much better standards than that.
Get ready for the next battle.
Oh yeah, so true.
Prepare to strike. Now.
That man was intentionally written to be a bitch, and it shows. Oh my god, she's getting juggled.
Get ready for the next battle.
Oops, I chose the wrong palette again. Oh, Mario Hispania is here.
Who has dared to approach my lair? Tell me, or suffer the consequences.
Fighters ready. Engage.
Oh yeah, that's another reason why I wanted Merlot here to be weak. I made it so that her heavy attacks push her considerably far away from the enemy. And I did that in an attempt to make sure that her combo game wasn't as strong as my other characters. PK, especially like PK, who can just juggle her her magic combos into Dizzy Punch and then over again. I tried to do the same thing with Merlot, but I guess it just made her zoning game a bit better. Those are the type of things you have to consider when making a fighting game character. Or just in game dev in general. If I try to make something bad like this, will it actually make it good in other areas? Oh yeah, I gotta put the music back on.
Get ready for the next battle.
I also think when I tried to make my ship fix, I made it a thing to where they didn't have any where none of the guilds had members anymore after some undisclosed reason, and that way I wouldn't have to bring up guild members in any sort of way. But I guess you could do a thing where you make up your own guild members that are not like any of the actual player-made characters. Yeah. Also, hi, you missed out on a lot. Yeah, the next few stories are gonna be really long, so,
Prepare to strike. Now.
yeah, I'm filling out this last hour with just, let's beat up the Merlot character I made in Mugen. Because we gotta beat up the other bad character in the series. At least until I make a Mike or a Devonshire. If I do end up making a Mike or a Devonshire, I'd probably need sprites, and I don't know where to get them. Oh, Spiritual Malaise. Let me... Oh, that's the one with the jewels and the accident that happens. I think that's what got brought up in the story we just read, Inspirations. Might be one of the causes of Jules going insane or whatever.
For the next battle.
And yep, that was another easy win for Merlot. Unfortunate. Ooh, Syakuya! I have yet to see Syakuya in this roster. And yeah, here's the freak of nature herself.
Fighters ready. Engage.
Don't ask me about her origins. I am not in the Japanese side of Mugen. Also, I could have sworn Syakuya has AI. Like an AI patch.
Get ready for the next battle.
Are you ready? Go.
Get ready for the next
Now I'm being reminded of Shrimsworth's fight with Slasher and Resignation. Yeah.
Get ready.
Why didn't his author decide to use any of his other moves though? He had Mach Punch. Mach Punch is times 4 super effective against Weavile. I will bet you that if Shrimsworth threw out one of those while he pinned Slasher down, he would have fractured his skull. That's why I made it a point in my story to have them use their moves. Who's next? Who's next? Please be someone strong. Oh, it's my evil SpongeBob edit. Oh. Local author fight. So for a bit of context, there used to be this old SpongeBob character that was widely known as Kinoshita SpongeBob. And he was pretty infamous for wielding a gun and firing a rocket launcher, but also for having very broken and impossible AI that let him spam the same supers over and over again. And that was also paired up with a character known as Kinoshita Chowder, who would spam an AK-47 super over and over again. He had the same AI problems that Kinoshita SpongeBob had. Well, anyway, this is me effectively remaking that character, Kinoshita SpongeBob, into my own thing. And I use the same template that the original did, although the template that I had is a much more updated version. Oh! He got the Son Goku Satsu. Oh yeah, Kinoshita SpongeBob also had a lightsaber for some reason.
Get ready for the
And Kinoshita Chowder also had lines from a YTP, I think. Because they sounded very sexual in nature, that it only had to have come from a YTP. And it was also very sentence mixed too, which was... we didn't have AI in 2011. I should get Evil SpongeBob's AI fixed up so that he's less of a spammy zoner and actually rushes in and does combos like the, what is this, the Eternity of Heroes template does? Okay, but back to writing. I also made Shroomsworth fight a bit more elegantly, like a boxer would, essentially. And also someone like Dudley from Street Fighter,
Get ready for the next
because that's
battle.
most definitely an inspiration for him.
Strike. Now.
I could also make him fight like Slayer and give him Dandy Punch. I mean, I already did so in Mugen. I've even had him use Swagger on an opponent. And I even made him use Bullet Seed to put pressure on the enemy as he approached them. Yes, this was all things I did in the fic, by the way. This was not something fighting game related.
Get ready for the next battle.
Another win for Merlot, unfortunately. Tough Reimu, huh?
You dare to approach my
Oh, that Reimu does look tough.
Tell me, suffer the consequences.
Fighters ready.
Also staged with music.
Engage.
And also Toho on Toho violence. Is this a Hokuto no Ken, Reimu? I could see that.
Get ready for the next battle.
Are you ready? Go.
Oh, Reimu tried to do the Shiki Nanaya thing. It's becoming really difficult for Reimu to approach with all the assist spam. And even if she could approach, Merlot's just gonna push block that away unless she can find a way to mix her up. You did not need to end that off with a super. You were just showing off.
Nothing of it.
Prepare to strike. Now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, Tao is just a shitty place to be in. And you got shitty characters all around in it. Yes, it really wants to be dark and gritty while also trying to be for all ages too. Like, it just makes no damn sense. Yeah, exactly. Like, God, I would hate to be a human transformed Pokemon who would have to grow up in the world of PMD.
Get ready for the next battle.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Who has dared to approach my
Welcome
character?
to scaffold.
Tell me, or suffer the consequences.
Fighters ready. Engage.
I guess you do have a point there. Like, you've got to accept that this setting is shit, the characters are shit, some of the good characters had shit lives.
Get ready for the next battle.
Are you ready? Go.
Holy shit, Merlot. You do not need to be throw looping the poor Smoke Ninja like it's Street Fighter 6.
Think nothing
Get
of it.
ready for the next battle.
Prepare to strike. Now.
Trying to put my thoughts into words, but it's like really difficult. It's like really difficult to put thoughts into words of what I'm thinking right now. I think there's a way to make PMD good while still having its villas and such. Like, you could probably still have Merlot and not her being a maid outfit fetishist.
Get ready for the next battle.
Into the heat of battle. Go for it.
So I'm trying to think of what... You could probably still have Mike be a loser, and oh, that is a helper bug if I've ever seen it. I keep having this habit of forgetting to make helpers delete themselves when they're not in their proper states. I just never think that the problem arises for me to code in such a failsafe. But I guess that's the second time I've seen it happen.
Get ready for the next
Think
battle.
nothing of it.
Are you ready? Go.
Yeah, and if Mike was allowed to be... Well, if they leaned more into him being a loser than him being a D&D character who wants to win, or if Creeper did not want to fulfill his fantasies.
Get ready for the next battle.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Who would dare to approach my lair unannounced? Tell me, or suffer the consequences.
Fighters ready. Engage. Coming at you.
I think the funny part is that, like, before I actually did get Shroomsworth as my OC, I did attempt to rewrite PMD-E from scratch. And it was more of like a parody of PMD-E than anything else. And I can't remember how far I got into that story. I'd have to check my DeviantArt stash since I stashed away it all in there.
Prepare to strike. Now.
Let's see, stash storage. Oh. So, I wrote up all the way until... all the way up to Event 6 Part 2, before I got to the time travel stuff. No, and actually I did get to the time travel stuff, but I didn't start out on Mission 7 yet. That's how far I got into this parody thing. And I do mean parody in the full sense of the word because I basically just made it new characters out of the old. I made new player characters to do all the missions and stuff. And some of those player characters have ties with the main characters because it's my story. I do whatever the fuck I want. Okay, this is gonna be an interesting character to see.
Who would dare to approach my lair unannounced? Tell me, or suffer the consequences.
I even still have some of the old artwork I made for that story.
Fighters ready.
Under, where's it? Rewritten. A lot of them were written stories, but some of them had art to go with it. I can even explain some of the characters that I made specifically for this parody. Let me just put this Mugen over to the side. Let's see, I have made portraits of all the characters. Well, I drew portraits for all the characters. The main characters, at least. So let's start with the merchants, because I feel that would be most appropriate. So instead of PK, we've got Pico. Let's see, I'm trying to remember what word is it that I described him as. Oh yeah, Pico is a misanthropist. So yeah, he's a merchant leader who does not like anyone. He puts up with them as a facade for money, but he generally does not like quote humanity. I don't know what that would be in Pokemon terms specifically. And then I have the Shroomsworth of the story, Sunspark. I honestly forgot what character I even gave her. I think the only thing I remember doing with her was like, so you know how in Resignation they were about to have sex? Well, Sunspark was about to initiate it, but then Pico was like, yep, no, I'm good, good night. And then he fell asleep. Therefore, no sex! But then again, I did not take the rape story into account. Even Successor had a slightly different plot from what it normally was. And now it's for the Rescuers. Instead of Chill, we got Dash. And he's basically just a combination of K-Dash and Cooler Diamond from King of Fighters. Nothing much from him. Leo, I do not give a shit to remember anything about him, so moving on. For the Rogues, hey, it's Robin! I would eventually reuse her for Eternal Bliss, but in this abridged PMDE, she was the leader of the Rogues Guild. And just like in Eternal Bliss, she hated her father because he basically did not want anything to do with her while he was running the guild. But yeah, I explicitly made it so that Robin is not the Devonshire of the story. She's actually, quote-unquote, the Devonshire's daughter, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know what happened to her dad in the story. But damn, she was a fun character, right? And so I had to bring her back for Eternal Bliss. Also, geez, that round isn't over still. And then I think finally for the main characters, this drawing is a bit shit, but this is Jamboree. I think they have two personalities, I think. I think they're one of those people with, I forgot what it's called, but it's like you're two people, you're two different people. One of them is a lot more serious, and the other one is a bit more happy-go-lucky. That's basically their entire character. I don't think I made a lot of portraits of everyone else, but I do have some art relating to them. If I can find said art. I only made a few art. Well, geez, did I never... I don't think I drew the team that I used for the Merchants Guild, but, oh shit, I'm gonna have to resize that. Also, the match is over. I did not catch who won. Gotta resize the fuck out of this thing. But yeah, shit, old art incoming because I drew this with the line tool on mouse. Anyway, this was supposed to be Mission 1's art that I did. And god, you could tell it was old art. So yeah, the Gumi is supposed to be the sole member of the Rescuers team that I made. Let's see who I get this time. B-ball in. No. It's gonna get destroyed easily. No, we've already seen what he can do. Someone else, please. Kirisami Mario. Okay, that'll be interesting. So yeah, that Gumi is... his name is Johnny. And, I think he's supposed to be the timid rescuer who would slowly gain confidence over the story. Also, Jesus Christ, Marissa just killed Merlot already. Wow. I have more images. Oh, and then yeah, there's the Udon of the story. I kind of forgot what her name was, but I made her a Salamence. Also, I'm starting to believe that this is Kirisami's Marissa's 12 palette. It just has to be. But yeah, as you can see, instead of being like happy-go-lucky like Udon was, the Salamence was more like I'm trying to look for my memories and such. And I think I did make it a part of the story where she would fall in love with Johnny, but Johnny would sort of have a problem with this because she's still undergoing amnesia. So yeah, the two wouldn't be dating for a while until, quote-unquote, you find your memories first, if I remember correctly. I don't have any images, any good images of the merchants. I think the merchants team was the least favorite of mine to write. But there were a Lilligant and a Scolipede. One of them was basically, they used to be a merchant overseas and actually had ties to the mafia, or a mafia of some sorts. Meanwhile, the Scolipede just does not like working at all and just kind of got roped into this mess. Oh, new Madness Mario. And then you got one of my favorite teams to write. The Rogues team, consisting of a Meowstick and a Shiny Honedge, who would then become an Esper and an Aegislash, I think. But yeah, so on the left, you've got Jasper, or, well, before Resignation, he was just known as Prince. Oh my god, that Mario's loud. And Prince was, you know that one guy in movies who's always trying to get the attention of the chicks? And always trying to be like that cool guy or whatever? That's what Prince was. And then you got Shadow, or Blade, as he was referred to before Resignation. And he was basically a bit of a ditz, but he was able to get the job done. And speaking of Resignation, Actually, I should show this off first. Yeah, so instead of Slasher, I made an entirely new character, this Gardevoir, who had like a whole army of Seedots and Nuzleaf. And yeah, the entire thing with her and Jasper, it's an Amori reference because Jasper is Captain Space boyfriend and Darling, as her name was supposed to be Sweetheart. You can really see the parody in this now. So yeah, come Resignation, you know, get the night, the sex. Screenshot made in Gmod before the models were taken off, and you can really tell how DeviantArt this looked. I did not give a shit about this at all. Oh, and then we get to the important scene with hey look, there's Sunspark over there with a broken leg, and both Darling and Jasper were in a very heated battle, which resulted in Jasper losing an eye. And oh, hey, look, there's the Sandy of the story, except I called her Pearl, and that was before I knew one of Glib's cats was named Pearl. Which is very unfortunate.
Get ready for the next battle.
And I also did change some stories, too, to be a bit more funny. Like, Pico was actually a lot more involved in this world's version of PK's request. And the reason why the house burned was because of an accident in this one. It had nothing to do with Devonshire or whatever. Oh, and Robin is there too. And I think I also made fun of what was quote-unquote the clown vomit art of PK's art during this time. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going for with this version of Palette. Oh no, Roid Rage Goku. Sorry for a seizure warning that may be appearing. Let's see, what other art do I have? Oh yeah, the sprite edit I made for the story's version of the Reprieve, where, yeah, you can tell it's a lot more based on, Lisa the Painful, or the Lisa series, I mean. I even tried my best to make the characters look like they belonged in the world of Lisa. Oh, and yeah, in this world, Gold managed to take, I think he managed to take control of a Machoke and tore off the arms of a Machamp and just... I think he taped them on his body or something. Yeah, something like... It was like something you'd see out of Lisa, essentially. Oh yeah, this is one piece of art I wish I could recreate. It's based off that one image of Colonel Longheener from Dodonpachi. Oh wait, shoot! I have a sketch of. Yeah, this never made it to the digitization process, but there's the merchant team down below getting into a fight, and yeah, before I got the graphics tablet, I drew these on paper, then digitized them on the computer. Like I said, I don't think I made much art for this abridged version. I think the rest of what I have would be in a folder in my sprites folder. Yeah, just title and the references, and all of these would have been made in Gmod. Like this, for example. Oh yeah. So also another thing in the Rescuers sort of thing is that the NPCs just join the team. So now you have who is meant to be Udon and who is also meant to be Ribbon in the original story, now joining Johnny in his Rescuer team. And if you couldn't tell, Ribbon is literally the kid from I Want to Be the Guy, even down to the moveset. And if you notice Bo's moveset, I don't think some of these moves a Larvitar can learn. I was just like, well, okay, there's an item in PMDE that lets you learn any fucking move you want, so why not just take advantage of the fact that any Pokemon can just learn any move in this world? Oh, and also in this parody of the applications, I put down natures do not matter in PMD because, I mean, am I wrong? I don't think they've ever mattered in the PMD games. Also, I tried my best to make the quote-unquote applications look like shit. Oh, yeah, I have more. Shit, that's not the right one. Yeah, there we go. Team Cavalier. Oh. Goku won. Of course he would. He's roid raged after all. Oh, okay. Hokuto no Ken Tenchi, you want to go up against Merlot? I won't stop you.
Tell me, or suffer the consequences.
Yeah, rogue leaders. And the rescuers. I even went out of my way to... Wait, did I actually? I don't even remember if I did, I don't remember if I did the thing where I wrote him out of the story the same way Chill was. Also, I just did not...
You are quite bold to battle.
I forgot about that. The cool version of sunglasses. You don't see GM Construct. Because I think that literally is GM Construct's cube maps and the reflection of Dash's sunglasses. I took all of the screenshots in GM Construct. God, I miss these Pokemon models. I wish I could mess around with them in Gmod again. Oh yeah, Team Royalty. That's what this name is.
Get ready for the next battle.
Prepare to strike.
And then there's Team Royalty post resignation. I made this animated icon that looked like it would fit into Mori. All of that to really sell that this was an Amori reference. I think Jasper has the same moveset in Eternal Bliss now that I think about it. Let me check because I do have his Eternal Bliss reference. Yep, that is literally his Eternal Bliss reference. No, I mean moveset.
Get ready for the next battle.
Oh! And then, wait, that's the PNG, not the GIF. There it is. And then during the looking around for citizens part of the, I think it was Mission 6, they managed to stumble across the Salazzle, who was, like, really attracted to Jasper for being a cool, mysterious dude. But, Jasper's been going through some shit. I don't think that would be the right time for you to be horny, miss. Oh, and also here's a Korean Gmod character in Mugen.
Who would dare to approach my nest unannounced? Tell me, or suffer the consequences.
Fighters ready.
Oh, rescuers, right. So instead of a Stunky and a Skuntank, Maple and Syrup, I forgot what I named the Syrup, but she's a Turtonator in this story. And then I made Maple and Nidorina. And then for Fresnel, I just literally turned them into Cadence from Crypt of the Necrodancer. Literally with a sprite of the thing at all. Let's see, what's this? Oh yeah, Mint. I forgot about Mint. The Mint is meant to be the rose of the story, except I turned her into Basil from Amori. Can you tell that I was into Amori during this time? But yeah, I remember taking Mint into Eternal Bliss 2, but I rewrote her character entirely, and now her name is Anise. And she doesn't have Pound and Tackle anymore. Instead, she has Torment and Harden. I chose to move Harden because of defense purposes, of course. Is that all of the references that I have? Looks like it because I don't think I ever made a version of the Rogues application with this world's version of Dimitri in it. In fact, I only remember what I did with that version. I wonder if I should make that a thing where I could read this abridged version of PMDE that I made like a couple of years ago. Could be a nice little break from stuff. But yeah, that's going to be all for me tonight. It's 11. I'll probably think about the reading of the abridged version in mind. Then again, I don't even remember exactly what I wrote because I'm working on Eternal Bliss now. So anyway, next time this story. So good night. See you all tomorrow.